going to take you through the steps of completing your advertising GIF. So as we talked about in class, there are many different kinds of web banners in different sizes. Here's an example of one. And what you're going to be doing, and I'm going to use this as the example, is we are going to create it first in Photoshop and then bring it to life in Adobe After Effects. So to recreate something that's very similar to this, we're going to do this in Photoshop again. So far what I've done is that on my desktop I've created a folder. Inside that folder I have a variety of things that I got offline. First I got this logo with the I'm loving it at the bottom. I got this one just in case. I got this one with just the arches, excuse me. I got the fries with the fries in it. I got the one potato and one of Ronald McDonald, which I might put in at the end. I also did a screen grab from the internet. I found on YouTube some pic, and I did this using QuickTime. So if you want to grab a little video, not the whole video, maybe just a segment like I did here, this is all of like a couple of seconds that I picked, let me know. I will show you how to do that rather than make it a longer video and put it in this one. Okay, so what are we going to do after that? Once you have all those things located in that folder, you're going to open up Photoshop. Once Photoshop is open up, go to File and New inside of Photoshop. Okay, from there, we're going to go up to the top here. We're going to go to where it says Film and Video, and then you have a choice. The first one is the one that most of you picked, so HDTV 1080p. That one works, and it's going to be the same setting that we do in Adobe After Effects. So I'm going to click it. The only change I'm going to make is that over here where it says resolution, I'm going to pump this up to 300, just so it's a little bit better of a resolution, but it's going to be 1920 in terms of the width of the pixels, 1080 for the height, and then you can decide if your orientation is going to be vertical or horizontal. I'm going to keep mine horizontal because that's like the one that I just saw. I'm going to keep the background white now. I'll add my own color later, and at the bottom I'm going to click on Create. Okay, so we're back out. This is what it looks like. I'm going to kind of hide this and maybe just make it small in the corner so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so I'm going to keep that down here at the bottom of my screen just so we can kind of keep looking back at it, but I'm going to click inside of Photoshop. All right, so I want to make this thing look similar. First thing I'm going to worry about is the background. In the original one, you see it goes from like a sort of a darker maroon red to lighter to dark again at the bottom. So in order for us to do that inside of Photoshop, make sure you can see your layers panel. From there, we're going to go down to here. If you don't see a layers panel, by the way, go to Window and Layers, and it will show up for you. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go down to that little create a new fill or adjustment layer. It's like a black and white cookie. You're going to click that, and you're going to choose Gradient. Once you choose Gradient, this box is going to pop up. Click on the little arrow next to it, and then what you want to do is we'll find something in the reds family. So I'm going to open that up. These are just presets, remember, but I'm going to click one of them, and then here, once you get in that family, you can click this bar, and this separate window will pop up. From there, I now want to change the colors. So what do I want to change these to? Well, I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and I'm going to double click this pink stop here, the little pink box on the bottom left corner here. I'm going to double click. When I do that, a color picker comes up asking me what color I'd like. Now I can go right over into something I already have, but it won't let me go onto the internet one to pick the color. So I'm going to try to find one that's close. That looks pretty good actually. And then I'm going to pick one for the middle color. So I'm going to click right here in the center and add a color. I'm going to double click that stop, and now I'm going to make that color a lighter color. And then I'm going to go again to the end, double click. This time I'm going to go in that red family again, just go a little darker. So this is now my new gradient. Sort of this maroon, dark red to the lighter red to the darker red. I'm going to hit new here to add it to the list. It adds it to the list. That looks good. I'm going to say OK. And then in the background now, you can kind of see what it looks like, which looks very similar to this bottom one. Now you can adjust it here by changing the scale or changing the angle of this. I'm going to leave it about there, about 90 looks good, but yours is 100% up to you. Okay, so now we have that background gradient fill. That looks good. We got the background layer, you got the gradient fill. Great. Okay, now I'm going to start adding the other pieces that go on here. So really this begins just as a Photoshop project. You're going to go into each one of these individual files. We're going to start taking them. Like I'm going to take this one where it says I'm loving it. I'm going to click, drag, and drop that onto the Photoshop file. Once it comes up like this, I'm going to hit OK. I would recommend that we change these and rasterize them. So I'm going to right click on these, and we're going to, each one that you drag in from your folder, just make sure you go to rasterize. I don't want to worry about smart objects for this particular project, so just rasterize them. Okay, once that's done, you can resize these. Remember, when you want to resize, you might see the box already, in which case just make sure you hold shift if it's not proportionally changing for you. And otherwise you could do edit and free transform, and you'll see the same box, and I'm holding shift because my link is not clicked. But you resize it about the size that you'd like. I'm going to make it about this size. I'm going to bring it over to the left hand side of my screen. That looks good right about there. Okay, and now in this one I don't want the red box that's around it because I already have a background. So to get rid of that red in the background, I'm going to use the magic wand tool here. I'm going to click on the red, and I'm going to hit delete. So far this is what I got. There is a little red inside the O, so I'm going to delete that too. And so far here's what I have. To get those dots to go away, I went to select and deselect, or you can, here on this little flyout tab, you can hit deselect. Okay, so that looks good so far. We got all that worked in there. There is in this web ad, there's a little white line here in Photoshop to do that sort of a thing. Probably your best case scenario here is to go to the rectangle tools right above the hand or pan tool. Go to the rectangle tool, and then go up to the top, choose a color. I'm going to choose white, and that looks all good. And then I'm going to go next to this word, and I'm just going to kind of click and drag. The exact sizes of this don't matter at the moment. From far away, you can see what we have. So we're trying to match up with this that's at the bottom. Okay, so layer by layer, we're recreating it. Right now, this one is called the McDonald's I'm Love. This is the background, McDonald's I'm Loving It, and here's that rectangle. So everything was pretty much named for me already. If it wasn't, you could always rename it. And then we're going to bring in the other pieces, right? So you're going to go in, you're going to grab the potato, drag and drop the potato into here. This one has a stamp on it, which I'm not a huge fan of, but there are some little tricks that you can do. So again, I brought in the image. Right click, choose rasterize. Once you choose rasterize, I want to get rid of the white. There's a few different ways to do it. Again, I could use the magic wand. I could click. I could hit delete. There are also some easy tools built into Photoshop now through the AI new tools, and you can hit this, remove background. And because it was an easy cutout anyway, it does a really nice job. And so it looks good. It got rid of it. Now this little stamp that's in here with the dream time stamp, I want to get rid of it. So to get rid of it, what I would do is I'm going to go onto the layer here. This is the mask that was just made when I hit the remove background. But if I click this one, now what I can do is I can go over to my tool panel, select the lasso tool, and just make a lasso around that stamp. Okay, once that happens, you'll see over here where it says generative fill. You can click and you can just say remove and then hit generate. Give it a few moments. Should probably take a minute, and it should give you a nice look to it, and remove it for you and blend it in with the rest of the potato. And there we go. And it gives you a few options here on the side, so you can see when it does come up, you'll see this little arrow here, these two arrows. You can hit the next one, next one. I kind of like number 2, looks, I think, probably best. And then what happens though in the layers panel is it adds this new AI layer, okay? And so this is the generative layer you just made along with this one. If you put these two together, you'll be in good shape. So I'm going to hold shift, grab them both, right click, and I want to merge those layers. It's Command E on your keyboard or Window key E on the PC keyboard. Okay, so from far away now, here's what we're looking at. We got the potato. It looks really good. I want to put it in the same position pretty much as this one. So edit, free transform. There's the box. I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to make it smaller. Hold shift. And I'm going to please paste it right here. Now theirs is at the bottom, but that's okay because in now I could move it, of course, but the placement doesn't really matter all that much because later in Adobe After Effects you can move things around again. So I'll put this here for now. Then the next one, I'm going to go back in the folder. I'm going to grab the fries. Let's drag those in. Those need to be cut out also. So again, right click on the file, on the layer, excuse me, rasterize. Let's do remove background. That looks pretty good. It's not perfect. You can go in and fix any little areas that you want. If you're not super comfortable in Photoshop, in class, just let me know and we'll take care of those little things for you, because this is more about what we're going to be doing in After Effects than it is about Photoshop. But I did want to show you the beginning pieces of this thing, okay, in Photoshop first. All right. Good. Okay, so let's move that kind of to the middle. I'm running out of space a little bit, so I'm going to resize this. Okay, and then their thing is like it's got one fry left in it. So actually what I'm going to do, because I already have it once, is I'm going to try, if possible, to just cut away one fry. It might not look exactly like this, but I looked online and I had trouble finding some other ones. So in order to copy a layer, I'm going to take this layer, I'm going to hold Option on my keyboard and drag. So now I have two. If you don't need or want to see these turquoise lines, just go to View and turn off Extras, and they disappear. Now, in order to get rid of this on that top layer, I'm going to use one of my selection tools. I'll use the magnetic lasso, see how that works. I'm going to click and go right around the edge of the red here. If I mess up, I can always hit delete with the magnetic lasso, which is nice. Okay, good. Now I do want to leave one fry, so basically what I'm going to try to do is just select, actually no, let's not do it that way, sorry. Let's go back up this way. So I'm going to leave this one fry. Oh, it's a little hard to see because it's not a single fry by itself. You know what? Let's just cut it all off. I'll grab a fry from online. Okay, so I make this selection of that whole area. If I hit delete now, it gets rid of it. The only problem is it looks a little strange because there's no backing to this. So what I could do is that in my layers panel, I can add a new layer. And I'm going to add that new layer. I'm going to bring it underneath. So this is a little bit of an extra, okay, but I'm just going to kind of draw out where I think that thing should be for the background of this. And then I can fill this with the paint bucket with whatever color I want. So I'm just going to go like kind of a darker color, like that. Okay. We could add to it and do more stuff to it, but for now that's fine. Over here it looks a little sloppy. I'm going to take a little brush with the same color and just add a couple of little things right there. Okay. So now we want to add that one fry to make it look like the rest. So what I'm going to do is go online real quick. I'm going to find a French fry. I guess I could probably take one of these, but I don't know if that'll be more of a pain in the butt. Let's see. Alright, maybe I'll use one of these instead of going back online. So I'm going to grab one fry, maybe like this one. So I went back to the layer of the McDonald's fries that had fries in it, and I'm selecting the one fry. Now once I've done that, I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to say copy, layer via copy. So now there's one fry that I can pull out of here. And then I can move that fry over here. Now you can't see it because it's underneath. I'm going to pull it to the top. It's like right about there or so. Doesn't look exactly like the ad below. No, I don't think that fry's quite long enough. But we could do Command T and we can hold like this. We could rotate it. Okay. That looks good right about there. Don't worry about the thing. Okay, so I don't love this one. I probably could find a better picture, but this is the setup. It's done and ready to go. So you're going to make sure you do a file save as. I'm going to save this back to the same folder where I kept all the other stuff. I'm going to call it, we said advertising GIF. All right, even though it's a PSD file right now, we're going to turn it into a GIF later. Don't worry about that. But advertising GIF, and do make sure that your name is on this, okay? So put that on there. So if your name is Charlie, you're going to put Charlie. Okay, and then make sure you save. All right, beautiful. So in the next video, we're going to take this and import this into Adobe After Effects and show you how to animate it and then save it as a GIF.